Hey guys, almost exactly 3 years ago I did this build with Scorching Ray spectres and I was surprised how well it performed. So I thought I'm gonna do this again because we have the Wraithlord helmet and all sorts of different things. I did it and I was surprised how poorly it performed. So I want to talk about that, about the changes, and this is probably gonna be my last build this league. I may still return to PoE after a while, but I need a break from PoE. So this build, I'm gonna start with the PUB and the old video. I know it's hard to see, so I'm gonna zoom it in. But back then, I had 491 dot DPS per Scorching Ray. When I open the PUB right now, it only has 387,000. So there were some changes that made me lose, or this build made it lose quite a bit of damage. This was back in the day when Necromancer still had +2 to minion skill gems, and Elemental Equilibrium was still OP with the -50 to enemy resistances. So those things are gone. And back then I didn't use Wraithlord, I just used the rare helmet as a pseudo 6 link. So now when I did this build, look at my damage now, 235,000 dot DPS. This is not like a finalized build. I just quit the build a bit earlier. I could get a bit more damage, and also like Amanamu's gaze is way too expensive for this to use like 25 divines just to gain like 60k or 70k damage per totem. That's not really worth it. Another thing, the Tukohama's Vanguards are the spectres from X6. They summon totems. If you use multi-totem, we're gonna summon 2 totems and we're gonna have 3 maximum totem limit. It does have a 3-second cooldown and 5-second duration base. So I am using efficacy to increase duration to be able to kind of summon more than 2 totems. And I am using Necromantic Aegis with +1 to maximum totems. That way we can summon 4 totems maximum. So we drop 2 totems and then 3 seconds later we drop 2 more totems. And those totems apply exposure, each have their own stacks, but it does have 12% less damage per summon totem. When I did this video, I did not use Necromantic Aegis, and I even said that it's probably not even worth using Necromantic Aegis and going for maximum totems, rather just get more tankiness for yourself and just naturally get more damage. And I think that is still the play. You simply lose a lot of damage when going for more totems, and it also appears that there is another weird problem where the spectres try to summon totems way too close to each other and we just kind of get, I don't know, disabled. It just kind of doesn't really work very well. It looks like the totems are either not doing anything or they just disappear immediately, and they are like 3-4 beams sometimes, when it should be at least 8 or at least I guess 16. So I don't know what's happening there, but the damage was like really bad. It was a struggle killing Cirrus, and back then it was actually easy to do Cirrus, but with all those changes it really lost a lot of damage. Another thing, despite having more maximum spectres now, instead of 5 back then, now I have 8. However, I cannot use any other minions. So where do I place Feeding Frenzy? I would have to sacrifice 1 spectre. The cast speed, by the way, affects the totem turn rate, but I'm not sure if it's actually affecting their DPS. Like in powerful building, it does not affect their DPS. It may just help ramp up and reach maximum stage faster, but past that I don't think that it does. So this build doesn't have Feeding Frenzy. I also don't have where to add Combustion, because Combustion would lower enemy resistances even more. I am using 2 curses. I also cannot use Skitterbots because with Wraithlord you can only use spectres, and Skitterbots are minions, so you cannot use Skitterbots. And back then I guess it was easier to squeeze in more auras because the reservation changes. Another kind of mistake that I did, I ran with the Darkseer Scepter because it just gives a lot of kind of tankiness, but I kind of forgot that I have to blind enemies to apply Malediction, otherwise it doesn't work. So like you could replace this with the Wand +2 Wand with minion damage and maybe even minion cast speed, but it wouldn't be that much more damage. If I were to replace this with the Convoking Wand, like the damage goes up just a tiny bit. And that's not accounting for the 12% less damage per summon totem. And in practice I actually forgot to get Infernal Cry with Call to Arms. That would apply sort of weak-ish cover enemies in Ash. It wouldn't be the maximum strength because you need more than 20 power for that to happen. So I did forget that, but that's not a big deal. I also don't have like Awaken gems, I don't have Qualton gems, but I did check with the Awaken maximum quality and it still was bad damage. It reached like 300k, a bit over that. So you also need like Amanamu's gaze if you want, but that's super expensive. It's just not worth for this kind of damage. Another thing you may have noticed, I am using Oriath's End, and this works because if enemies die from dots, it counts as my kill. So you don't need anything else special, just using Oriath End will increase the clear speed for dot minions. However, as I discovered, you do not want to use a Hex Bloom with your curses. Uh-oh. If you manually cast curses and then you have a Hex Bloom and you have explosions, the game just kind of freezes. Even not a big enemy pack, because it has to calculate where the both curses gonna be like proliferated, but every enemy kind of dies almost at the same time, so it just freezes, calculates everything, and then unfreezes like 5 seconds later. So avoid using Hex Bloom as well. What else am I using? Doppelganger for tankiness, Jinxed Juju also for tankiness. Darkness Enthroned, I was given the perfect Darkness Enthroned, but I'm not really doing anything special with it. One ring is with the aspect of the spider, the level 30 one. If you don't know, there are like higher level aspects now, which requires the Black Morgan beast like this. Not much else left to say. I do have a jewel with 35 effect and 3% attack and cast speed for minions. And also, despite having Necromantic Aegis and giving away my shield stats, I am still considered as holding shield. So these nodes still work, but all the stats on the shield gets transferred to minions. So I am still almost capping my block because of the bone offering affecting me, and it goes to 68, 75. So that's still pretty good block, but the build still feels kind of squishy compared to the old build, which had a lot more HP, like 6.3k HP, but all the reservations are now wrong, so it wouldn't really be like that. Anyway, this is pretty much it for this build, and probably the last build this league. I'm gonna be playing different games now. There's Vampire Survivor DLC, there's Hades 2, there's Diablo 4 new season coming. I may still return to PoE to do some kind of challenge, like 1 HP challenge that I did, I don't know how many years ago, but it was, I don't know if I want that kind of torture now. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully soon. Bye bye.